Okay, so now you want to put the skirt right sides touching right sides, right? So right sides touching right sides, and of course we want our back where the zipper gonna be touching each other, right? Because we are getting prepared to put our zipper. Now the first thing you want to make sure is that the waistband, the front, the back waistband, that both sides connect, right? So you want to make sure it connect at the waist and it connect at the seam here at the waist and at the top of the waistband right here, right? So you want to make sure it connect. The next thing, you want to make sure that the skirt, the back of the skirt is also aligned together, right sides touching right sides, right? So just to show you here, so the skirt, I just fold it like this, right sides touching right sides. Then I'm going to take my zipper and I'm going to measure down. And remember, for this waistband it was a 38 waistband and I add 3 inches. So in this case, the 3 inches I had add extra, it would be half an inch, 1.5 inch on both sides. So that would make 3 inches for my seam allowance. So I don't have to remeasure again because I know the amount of seam allowance I need. So now I'm just going to measure down my zipper. So from the top of the zipper here, not from this, from the top of the actual head of the zipper here, my waistband, I'm going to measure it down to see how far I need my allowance for my zipper. Now I'm not going to take my guide to this button here. I'm going to take it a little bit higher up, right? So maybe you could say half an inch up, right? So this would be the guide for my zipper right here. So I know this is for my zipper, I would not touch it, and it's of course 1.5 inch seam allowance. Now the 1.5 inch seam allowance here, I would also transfer it at the bottom of the skirt here to make my seam. So my seam would be 1.5 inch. So 1.5 inch, I make my mark in here, 1.5 inch, all the way down to the end of the skirt. So what I will do now is to take my skirt and go to the sewing machine and then follow the 1.5 inch guide for my seam, go right down. Right? So I did put a marking so I know, because I don't have a 1.5 inch guide on the machine, but I have some marking here. So I do my back stitch again, and I follow my 1.5 inch guide, go right down to the very end of the skirt. If you have pins, be mindful, remove your pins. And I'm following my guide, go right down to the very end of my skirt. And I do my back stitch. Right, lift up. Right, so now I'm going to take off the pins here that I have it connect to make sure everything is nice and settled. And I still have my opening here for my zipper, right? So, and of course this is my back opening. So I'm going to turn the skirt inside out. Right? And this is my allowance here for my zipper. And again, it's 1.5 inch. So what I would do, like for my beginners, I would say, make sure you have 1.5 inch at the top of the waistband to the seam here. 1.5 inch both sides. You want to bend it and iron it down so that you could get the seam very nice and smooth. I would not iron because I know I'm familiar, but if you're not familiar, if you're not comfortable, you want to definitely make sure you iron the skirt down to make sure you get your nice seam. I'm just going to measure the 1.5 inch from the top of the waistband just like that. I hope you can see that. So 1.5 inch here, right? And I'm going to put a pin here just to kind of stabilize it. And I want to make sure that my down by my seam is also 1.5 inch, right? Then I'm going to stabilize it right here. And it comes and meet my 1.5 inch here, right? Then I'm going to take my zipper, zip it down just like this, and I will put a center zipper, right? So I'm going to pin my zipper down just like this, and I'm going to take this off because it's only a guide. So pin it down just like this, right? I kind of have it hidden inside, It wouldn't be a hidden zipper, it's a center zipper, but I just want to make sure it's straight down. Now, for beginners, I would highly recommend that you iron this skirt down so you can get the crease really nice and smooth so you don't miss the crease. Iron it down 1.5 inch, and then you pin. Once you finish pinning, then you get your needle and your thread and your base. So it's like this, right? 1.5 inch, and then you continue with the 1.5 inch up. So I'm going to measure again because I didn't remember measuring this side. So 1.5 inch, right? And then you bend from the 1.5 inch, and then you pin. Make sure everything is 1.5 inch. Because my waistband is actually 38, and I go 3 inches extra to get my seam allowance. Because this skirt is actually not for me. It's for a waist 38. Alright, so again, it connected to my 1.5 inch here, and I'm going to bend my zipper just as how I do on the other side. Alright, just like that. Take my time. Because I'm not going to put any hooks and eye or any other closure than the zipper. The zipper is going to be my complete closure. Right, just like that. Just like that. Bend it down. And I'm just going to give one more pin. And what I would advise you to do is zip it up to see if it connects at the waistband. And if it doesn't connect, you could also always make adjustment, but I'm just going to see if it connects. Okay? So it's almost there. Yeah. So once it connects at the waistband, now the next thing, I'm not going to do that, but what I would want you to do is to take needle and thread, and you want to do a basting stitch. Go right down, right? So this is how it is, right, for your zipper. I'm going to pull it up again. Right, this is the back, your back zipper here. And this is, it's only pinned down. For my beginners, I would definitely say get needle and thread and do a basting stitch. So you baste it down right around and up. Now when you baste it, then you could pull out the pins and then you sew it. Make it very, very easier. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do now, I'll go back on my sewing machine and I'll change to my zipper foot. So if you have a machine and you have the zipper foot, that's a good luxury there for you. And I'm going to sew. So I am sewing with the pins. You don't want to do that. You definitely want to do a basting stitch, right? Just to make sure you have your zipper in place. And normally what I do, I don't back stitch in the beginning of my zipper because sometimes it's the bump is too high to go back and forth. I do it in the very end. So I'm going to take my stitch, take my pins out, and follow a guide. Alright, I'm going to just continue, take my time, go down, because I have to take up my pins. Alright, the key here is just to take your time. Take your time and try your best. If you didn't get it, you know, really nice and smooth the first time, it's okay. It's your first skirt. Even if it's the 10th time you didn't get it nice and smooth, it's okay. At least practice make perfect, right? The more you practice, the more you get it. Okay, so I come to a place here now. I'll lift up my presser foot and I'll try to close my zipper because I'm kind of finding a little bit of resistance. So I'll close my zipper. Once you close your zipper, again, don't do it with pins. It's easier to do a basting stitch and do it. I'm finding a little bit of resistance here. Okay, so because I'm finding resistance, I'm going to lift up because maybe my pins is in the way, I believe. And I'm going to zip it up. I'll put it back, and because I take my because I take the material off, I'm going to have to do a back stitch when I start my sewing. So always remember that. Once you take your material off, you put your needle back on the stitch, and the first thing you want to do is, of course, is a back stitch. So I'll do a little back stitch and then I'm going to continue my stitch. trying my best to follow the guide. Come down. Okay. Alright, so it's my time to turn now. Lift up, turn the skirt, and then come cross over. Alright, there you go. Lift up again, turn your skirt, and then you're gonna sew all the way home. So putting on zipper could be a little bit intimidating. Again, practice make perfect. Right? So I sew up a little, then I'm going to lift up my zipper foot, and then I'm going to bring down my zipper. I'm going to close it. Remember, I didn't take the needle off, so I don't need to back stitch. I just wanted to make sure that I get it really nice and straight so I could come home straight with it. And I'm also following the guide, taking my time, coming home. Right? Just take your time. Now I am going to back stitch in the end here because I don't have any resistance. Alright, once I'm done, I'm going to turn my skirt upside down, put it down. Sorry, I'm going to turn it this way. Sorry, I apologize. Turn it upside down. Put your needle right on the seam line. And then you're going to do a little back stitch again. And then you're going to back stitch at the very end. And then you're done. Alright. Awesome. Now lastly, what we're going to do now is to hem our skirt. So, I'm going to change my foot again. My zipper foot. Alright. So get our zipper foot here. Change it back. And then I believe I did add a 1-inch hem. So I'm going to go ahead and do bend my skirt 1 inch up and hem it all the way home. And then we'll see our finished product. So I'm going to sort of eyeball my 1 inch. If you're not sure, you could actually stop and pin just to make sure you have it perfectly 1 inch. But I don't need any much hem, I just need a 1 inch hem. Take my time and I'm going to hem it all. In this case, the raw edge of my skirt is already enclosed, so I don't need to do a double. However, if you have the raw edge that is fraying, you definitely need to do a double hemming. In this case, I'm just going to do a single hemming. Alright, so at the very end of this video, you will see the complete garment of our skirt. Remember to like and share and tell others and sign up for the class. So once I finish this video, the last video, I'm going to show you our beautiful skirt.